Capricorn Natal to Navamsha, manifestations. Capricorn to Capricorn. Manifestation. The individual is highly disciplined and work-focused, often exhibiting workaholic tendencies. They have deep knowledge of rules, regulations, and loopholes, making them experts in navigating bureaucratic systems and dealing with common people or subordinates. They excel in management and operational roles, but must guard against becoming too rigid or overly focused on work, which can cause strain in personal relationships. Capricorn to Aquarius. Manifestation. The individual works efficiently, but often focuses more on the gains than the work itself. They are adept at identifying opportunities for financial success, particularly in high-risk areas such as the stock market, investment banking, or speculative ventures. However, they must be cautious of prioritizing financial gain over ethical work practices, as they can become drawn into risky or even fraudulent activities. The challenge is finding a balance between effort and reward without compromising integrity. Capricorn to Pisces. Manifestation. The individual often works selflessly, giving away their time and energy without expecting material rewards. They may find themselves in service-oriented roles or environments where altruism is valued over personal gain. While this can lead to fulfilling emotional or spiritual growth, they must be careful not to overextend themselves or become exploited for their efforts. Learning to set boundaries and ensuring that their work is both meaningful and sustainable is key to their success. Capricorn to Aries. Manifestation. The individual is highly driven to initiate new projects and pursue leadership roles. They are ambitious, goal-oriented, and eager to achieve quick results in their career. However, their need for rapid progress can lead to frustration when things don't move as fast as they would like. The challenge is learning patience and understanding that long-term success often requires steady, sustained effort rather than immediate outcomes. Capricorn to Taurus. Manifestation. The individual tends to delay tasks until absolutely necessary, often waiting until the pressure is on before taking action. They may find satisfaction in working for underprivileged or disadvantaged groups, seeing their role as a resource for those in need. They are also good at justifying delays or finding reasons to avoid certain tasks. However, they often inherit wealth or gain financially through paternal connections. The challenge is developing a consistent work ethic to balance their potential for financial success with sustained effort. Capricorn to Gemini. Manifestation. The individual's career often involves communication, writing, or working in small confined spaces such as office cubicles. They may feel restricted in their work environment but are excellent at cultivating communication skills over time. Writing or intellectual work may become central to their career, and they may eventually pursue writing professionally. Their challenge is to embrace the mundane aspects of their work while utilizing their communication skills to advance professionally. Capricorn to Cancer. Manifestation. The individual's work environment may feel closely linked to their home life. They might work from home, run a home-based business, or feel emotionally attached to their office, treating it like a second home. Their productivity is closely tied to their emotional state. If they are feeling off, it impacts their ability to work effectively. The challenge is maintaining emotional stability and creating boundaries between personal and professional life to avoid emotional exhaustion. Capricorn to Leo. Manifestation. The individual is focused on becoming a leader, often aiming for positions of authority or recognition. However, they may neglect the tasks at hand, assuming that leadership is about status rather than hard work. As a result, they can struggle to attain leadership roles or maintain them. The challenge is learning to appreciate the value of daily work and developing the necessary skills and work ethic to achieve leadership positions successfully. Capricorn to Virgo. Manifestation. The individual is meticulous and detail-oriented, but may experience frequent job changes due to conflicts with colleagues or dissatisfaction with their work environment. They excel in slow, methodical work that requires precision, but they can become frustrated with others or their surroundings, leading to workplace conflicts. Their challenge is learning to manage their high standards without becoming overly critical, while maintaining positive relationships with co-workers. Capricorn Natal to Navamsha, all planets. Capricorn to Sun. Leadership is expressed through discipline, responsibility, and a long-term focus. The individual seeks recognition for their hard work and ability to manage complex situations. They excel in leadership roles where persistence and attention to detail are required. However, they must guard against becoming too rigid or overly focused on external success, which can lead to neglecting personal relationships and emotional well-being. Moon. Emotional security is tied to work, responsibility, and achieving long-term goals. The individual feels most emotionally fulfilled when they are steadily progressing in their career or building something lasting. However, they may struggle with emotional isolation, often prioritizing work over personal relationships. Learning to balance emotional needs with professional ambition is key. Mars. Energy is directed toward disciplined, methodical work. The individual is highly motivated to achieve their goals through sustained effort and resilience. However, they must be cautious of becoming too controlling or harsh, especially when working with others. Their challenge is to temper their drive for success with patience and emotional awareness. Mercury. Communication is structured, precise, and often focused on practical or professional matters. The individual excels in business, law, or any field that requires careful planning and organization. However, they must avoid becoming too rigid in their thinking, which can limit creativity and flexibility in problem-solving. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through hard work, discipline, and a commitment to long-term goals. The individual seeks to grow by mastering a specific skill or profession, often focusing on achieving financial or professional success. However, they must guard against becoming too focused on material gain, which can prevent them from experiencing deeper personal growth. Venus. Relationships are built on stability, practicality, and mutual support. The individual values partners who share their long-term goals and work ethic. However, they must be cautious of becoming too emotionally distant or overly focused on practical concerns, which can create emotional distance in their relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are central to the individual's approach to both work and relationships. They take their duties seriously and are committed to achieving long-term stability and success. However, they must guard against becoming overly rigid or pessimistic, especially when faced with challenges or delays. The individual may be drawn to unconventional or risky methods of achieving success, often seeking shortcuts or ways to bypass traditional routes. However, they must be cautious of becoming too focused on material gain, which can lead to instability in other areas of life. Ketu. Detached from traditional ideas of success and leadership, the individual focuses more on spiritual growth and inner development. They may feel less motivated by career or financial success, preferring to explore deeper personal and philosophical insights. Capricorn to Sun. Leadership is expressed through innovation, intellect, and a focus on societal progress. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to think ahead and bring about change, often excelling in roles that require forward thinking and unconventional ideas. However, they must guard against becoming too detached or overly idealistic in their leadership, as this can distance them from practical realities or the needs of the people they lead. Moon. Emotional security is tied to intellectual freedom, social progress, and innovation. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when they are engaged in meaningful intellectual work or contributing to a cause greater than themselves. However, they may struggle with emotional detachment, often prioritizing intellectual pursuits over emotional connection. Mars. Energy is directed toward innovation, technology, and social reform. The individual is passionate about creating change through intellectual pursuits and is driven by the need to contribute to the greater good. However, they must guard against becoming too radical or disconnected from practical realities. Mercury. Communication is innovative, sharp, and focused on intellectual and technological advancements. The individual excels in discussions about progressive ideas and thrives in environments that encourage open-mindedness and exploration of new concepts. However, they must avoid being too detached from emotional concerns. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through intellectual exploration, innovation, and social progress. The individual seeks to grow by learning new ideas, embracing technology, and contributing to the advancement of society. However, they must guard against becoming too idealistic or disconnected from practical realities. Venus. Relationships are centered around intellectual connection, mutual respect, and shared goals related to societal progress. The individual values partners who are intellectually stimulating and aligned with their vision for the future. However, they must guard against emotional detachment and ensure they invest emotionally in their relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are necessary for achieving long-term success in intellectual or social pursuits. The individual may face challenges or delays in bringing their innovative ideas to fruition, but through perseverance and dedication, they will create lasting change. Their challenge is to balance their idealism with practical action. Ra. The individual may be drawn to unconventional intellectual or social paths, often exploring radical ideas or innovative solutions that challenge traditional thinking. However, they must guard against becoming too extreme or disconnected from reality, as this can lead to instability. Key. Detached from conventional intellectual pursuits, the individual focuses more on spiritual growth and finding deeper truths beyond societal norms. They are less concerned with traditional knowledge or intellectual success and more focused on exploring the deeper, philosophical aspects of life. Sun. Leadership is expressed through compassion, creativity, and a focus on emotional and spiritual well-being. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to guide others with empathy and understanding, often excelling in roles that require emotional intelligence and spiritual insight. However, they must guard against becoming too idealistic or emotionally overwhelmed in their leadership roles, as this can lead to confusion or unrealistic expectations. Moon. Emotional security is tied to emotional depth, spirituality, and compassion. The individual feels most fulfilled when they are able to connect deeply with others and contribute to their emotional and spiritual well-being. However, they may struggle with emotional boundaries, often absorbing the emotions of others. They must learn to protect their emotional well-being while maintaining their compassionate nature. Mars. Energy is directed toward emotional and spiritual pursuits. The individual is motivated to help others, often excelling in roles that involve healing, counseling, or artistic expression. However, they must be cautious of becoming emotionally drained or overly absorbed in others' problems, as this can lead to burnout. Mercury. Communication is imaginative, empathetic, and often focused on emotional or spiritual matters. The individual excels in roles that require emotional intelligence and sensitivity in communication, such as counseling, art, or spiritual guidance. However, they must guard against being too vague or unclear, especially when practical matters require direct communication. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through emotional and spiritual exploration. The individual seeks to grow by helping others and deepening their understanding of emotional or spiritual truths. However, they must be cautious of becoming overly idealistic, as this can disconnect them from practical realities. Venus. Relationships are centered around deep emotional connection, compassion, and shared spiritual values. The individual values partners who are emotionally sensitive and spiritually aligned with them. However, they must guard against becoming too emotionally dependent or sacrificing their own needs for their partner, which can create imbalance in their relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are necessary for achieving long-term emotional and spiritual growth. The individual may face emotional challenges or delays in finding emotional or spiritual fulfillment, but through patience and resilience, they will develop deeper emotional strength and understanding. The individual may be drawn to unconventional or mystical emotional experiences, often exploring new ways of connecting with others or expressing compassion. However, they must guard against becoming too idealistic or disconnected from reality. Detached from material concerns, the individual focuses more on emotional and spiritual growth. They are less concerned with traditional markers of success and more interested in finding deeper meaning in life through spiritual and emotional exploration. Capricorn to Aries. Leadership is expressed through action, decisiveness, and a strong desire to achieve results quickly. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to take charge and lead with confidence, often excelling in competitive or fast-paced environments. However, they must guard against impulsiveness and impatience, which can lead to conflict or hasty decisions that undermine long-term success. Moon. Emotional security is tied to independence and personal achievement. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when they are actively pursuing goals and asserting their autonomy. However, they may struggle with emotional impatience or a tendency to prioritize achievement over emotional connection. They must learn to balance their need for success with emotional sensitivity. Mars. Energy is directed toward leadership, competition, and action. The individual is highly motivated to achieve their goals, often excelling in roles that require quick thinking and assertiveness. However, they must guard against becoming too aggressive or domineering, especially in personal relationships. Mercury. Communication is direct, assertive, and action-oriented. The individual excels in environments that require quick decision-making and clear communication. However, they must avoid being too blunt or impulsive in their communication, which can lead to misunderstandings or conflicts. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through bold actions and personal independence. The individual seeks to grow by stepping into leadership roles and pursuing ambitious goals. However, they must guard against overconfidence and reckless decision-making, as this can lead to setbacks or missed opportunities for deeper personal growth. Venus. Relationships are dynamic, passionate, and often marked by intensity and competition. The individual values partners who challenge and inspire them, but they must guard against becoming too competitive or domineering in their relationships. Learning to balance assertiveness with emotional sensitivity is key to maintaining fulfilling relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are essential for achieving long-term success in leadership roles. The individual may face challenges in asserting their leadership or achieving their goals, often requiring patience and resilience. Through perseverance, they will learn to balance their drive for success with careful planning and emotional maturity. The individual may be drawn to unconventional leadership roles or bold, risky ventures, often challenging traditional norms. However, they must be cautious of becoming too impulsive or reckless in their pursuit of success, as this can lead to instability in their career or personal life. Ketu. Detached from traditional ideas of leadership and power, the individual focuses more on spiritual growth and inner wisdom. They may feel less driven by external success, preferring to lead through insight and understanding rather than through assertive action. Capricorn. Sun. Leadership is expressed through practicality, stability, and a focus on long-term security. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to build a stable and prosperous foundation, often excelling in roles that require financial management, resource allocation, or a steady approach. However, they must guard against becoming too materialistic or rigid in their leadership style, as this can limit their potential for personal and emotional growth. Moon. Emotional security is tied to material comfort and stability. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when their basic needs are met, and they have a secure and comfortable home environment. However, they may struggle with emotional stagnation or attachment to routines, often avoiding emotional depth. They need to balance their desire for stability with a willingness to engage emotionally and explore deeper connections. Mars. Energy is directed toward building financial stability and ensuring long-term success. The individual is highly motivated by the desire to create a secure foundation for themselves and those they care about. They excel in fields that require patience and consistent effort, but they must guard against becoming too stubborn or inflexible, particularly when change or adaptability is required. Mercury. Communication is practical, grounded, and often focused on material concerns. The individual excels in business negotiations, financial discussions, or any area where logical, practical thinking is required. However, they must avoid becoming too focused on material success in their communication, which can lead to shallow or transactional relationships. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through financial security and material stability. The individual seeks to grow by building a strong foundation, often focusing on accumulating wealth or ensuring long-term prosperity. However, they must guard against becoming too focused on material success, as this can prevent them from experiencing emotional and spiritual growth. Venus. Relationships are centered around stability, comfort, and shared values of security. The individual values partners who provide emotional and financial stability, but they must guard against becoming too focused on material comfort at the expense of emotional connection. Learning to balance material and emotional needs is essential for maintaining fulfilling relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility are necessary for achieving long-term financial and emotional stability. The individual may face challenges or delays in building the material security they desire, but through perseverance and patience, they will achieve their goals. However, they must avoid becoming too rigid or overly concerned with material success, which can create emotional distance in their relationships. Rahu. The individual may be drawn to unconventional methods of achieving financial success, often taking risks or exploring new ways of gaining wealth. However, they must guard against becoming too focused on material gain, as this can create instability in other areas of life. Ketu. Detached from material concerns, the individual focuses more on spiritual or emotional fulfillment rather than accumulating wealth. They are less concerned with material success and more interested in finding deeper meaning in life. Capricorn to Gemini. Sun. Leadership is expressed through intellect, communication, and adaptability. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to connect with others through ideas and networking, often excelling in environments that require flexibility and intellectual engagement. However, they must guard against becoming too scattered or superficial, as this can prevent them from making impactful long-term decisions. Moon. Emotional security is tied to communication, intellectual stimulation, and social interaction. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when they are engaged in conversations or activities that stimulate their mind and allow them to express their ideas. However, they may struggle with emotional detachment or inconsistency, especially if they rely too much on intellectual pursuits over emotional depth. They need to balance their intellectual curiosity with emotional sensitivity and connection. Mars. Energy is directed toward communication, learning, and social interaction. The individual is highly motivated by a desire to exchange ideas, solve problems, and engage in intellectual challenges. They excel in dynamic, fast-paced environments, but must guard against becoming too reactive or scattered in their efforts, which can lead to frustration or burnout. Mercury. Communication is sharp, quick, and central to the individual's success. They excel in fields that require writing, speaking, or intellectual engagement, such as teaching, journalism, or public relations. However, they must avoid becoming too focused on intellectual pursuits at the expense of emotional connection or depth in their communication. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through intellectual exploration, communication, and social interaction. The individual seeks to grow by expanding their knowledge and forming new connections, often focusing on intellectual development. However, they must guard against spreading themselves too thin or becoming overly reliant on mental stimulation for personal fulfillment. Venus. Relationships are centered around intellectual compatibility, communication, and shared interests. The individual values partners who engage them in stimulating conversations and share their love for learning. However, they must guard against becoming too focused on intellectual connection at the expense of emotional intimacy. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in communication and intellectual pursuits are necessary for long-term success. The individual may face challenges in focusing their mental energy or maintaining consistency in their intellectual development, but through perseverance and dedication, they will achieve mastery in their chosen field. Rahu. The individual may be drawn to unconventional ideas or methods of communication, often challenging traditional ways of thinking. They are likely to explore new intellectual paths, but must guard against becoming too erratic or disconnected from practical realities. Ketu. Detached from surface-level communication and intellectual pursuits, the individual seeks deeper philosophical or spiritual truths. They are less interested in casual conversation or superficial learning and more focused on understanding profound concepts. Capricorn to Cancer. Leadership is expressed through nurturing, emotional intelligence, and a focus on creating security for others. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to care for and protect those around them, often excelling in leadership roles that require empathy and emotional support. However, they must guard against becoming too emotionally involved in their leadership, which can lead to burnout or blurred boundaries between personal and professional life. Moon. Emotional security is tied to family, home, and deep emotional connections. The individual feels most emotionally fulfilled when they are caring for others or maintaining a sense of emotional stability in their personal and professional life. However, they may struggle with overdependence on family or loved ones for emotional validation, leading to feelings of emotional vulnerability when things are unstable. Learning to balance personal emotional needs with professional responsibilities is key. Mars. Energy is directed toward emotional caregiving and protection. The individual is highly motivated to create emotional security for themselves and others, often excelling in roles that involve caregiving, counseling, or emotional support. However, they must guard against becoming too defensive or reactive, particularly when their emotional boundaries are challenged. Their challenge is learning to channel emotional energy in a constructive and balanced way. Mercury. Communication is emotionally intuitive and nurturing. The individual excels in connecting with others through words that are both empathetic and supportive, making them effective in fields like counseling, teaching, or human resources. However, they must guard against letting emotions overly influence their communication in professional settings where objectivity is required. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through emotional connection, caregiving, and nurturing relationships. The individual seeks to grow by supporting others emotionally and building strong, protective relationships. However, they must avoid becoming too emotionally dependent on others for validation, ensuring that they also prioritize their own emotional development. Venus. Relationships are centered around emotional support, nurturing, and deep emotional bonds. The individual values partners who provide emotional security and share their desire to create a stable, loving environment. However, they must guard against becoming too emotionally dependent or possessive in their relationships. Learning to balance emotional care with personal independence is essential for fulfilling partnerships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in emotional matters are necessary for achieving long-term emotional stability. The individual may face challenges in managing their emotions or maintaining balance between their personal and professional life, but through patience and emotional resilience, they will achieve emotional maturity. Rahu. The individual may be drawn to unconventional emotional experiences or caregiving roles, often seeking new and innovative ways to nurture others. However, they must guard against becoming too emotionally enmeshed in others' needs, which can lead to instability or emotional burnout. Ketu. Detached from traditional emotional caregiving roles, the individual seeks deeper emotional or spiritual fulfillment. They are less concerned with conventional expressions of care and more focused on exploring emotional and spiritual depth in their relationships. Capricorn to Leo. Sun. Leadership is expressed through charisma, creativity, and a strong sense of personal authority. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to inspire and lead with confidence, often excelling in leadership roles that allow them to showcase their talents. However, they must guard against becoming too self-centered or focused on their own image, which can lead to power struggles or alienation from others. Moon. Emotional security is tied to recognition, admiration, and personal achievement. The individual feels most emotionally fulfilled when they are acknowledged for their leadership qualities and contributions. However, they may struggle with emotional volatility if they feel unappreciated or overlooked. Learning to balance the need for recognition with emotional stability and self-worth is key to their personal growth. Mars. Energy is directed toward leadership, creativity, and self-expression. The individual is highly motivated to achieve success through bold actions and personal charisma. They excel in environments where they can take charge and be recognized for their achievements, but they must guard against becoming too aggressive or domineering in their pursuit of recognition. Mercury. Communication is confident, expressive, and focused on leadership and self-promotion. The individual excels in public speaking, teaching, or any role that requires them to communicate with authority and charisma. However, they must guard against being too focused on their own perspective or image, as this can limit their ability to connect with others on a deeper level. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through leadership, creativity, and personal development. The individual seeks to grow by taking on leadership roles and pursuing creative or entrepreneurial ventures. However, they must avoid becoming too focused on personal success at the expense of collaboration and emotional growth. Venus. Relationships are centered around admiration, mutual respect, and shared creativity. The individual values partners who recognize and appreciate their talents and leadership qualities. However, they must guard against becoming too focused on their own needs or desire for admiration, which can lead to imbalanced relationships. Learning to balance giving and receiving is essential for maintaining fulfilling partnerships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in leadership and self-expression are necessary for achieving long-term success. The individual may face challenges in gaining recognition or establishing themselves as a leader, but through perseverance and dedication, they will achieve their goals. They must avoid becoming overly concerned with status or recognition, focusing instead on the value of their work. Ra. The individual may be drawn to unconventional forms of leadership or self-expression, often challenging traditional norms in their pursuit of recognition. However, they must guard against becoming too radical or disconnected from practical realities in their quest for personal success. Ketu. Detached from traditional ideas of leadership and recognition, the individual focuses more on spiritual growth and inner fulfillment. They are less concerned with external validation and more interested in exploring their inner self and creative potential in a meaningful way. Capricorn to Virgo. Sun. Leadership is expressed through practicality, attention to detail, and service. The individual seeks recognition for their ability to manage and improve systems, often excelling in roles that require problem-solving, precision, and organization. However, they must guard against becoming overly critical or perfectionistic in their leadership, as this can lead to strained relationships and stress. Learning to balance their high standards with flexibility is essential. Moon. Emotional security is tied to routine, health, and personal productivity. The individual feels emotionally fulfilled when they are able to maintain a structured, organized life and contribute to something meaningful through their work. However, they may struggle with anxiety or emotional stress, particularly when things are not going as planned. Learning to accept imperfections in themselves and others is key to their emotional well-being. Mars. Energy is directed towards service, health, and improvement. The individual is highly motivated to work hard and focus on improving systems or solving problems, often excelling in jobs that require attention to detail, such as healthcare, research, or finance. However, they must guard against becoming overly critical or micromanaging, especially when dealing with colleagues or subordinates. Mercury. Communication is analytical, precise, and focused on practical concerns. The individual excels in roles that require clear, detailed communication, particularly in technical fields or those requiring research and organization. However, they must be cautious of becoming too nitpicky or overly focused on small details in their communication, which can lead to misunderstandings or conflicts. Jupiter. Growth and expansion are achieved through service, health, and practical learning. The individual seeks to grow by improving their skills, knowledge, and ability to contribute to others through their work. However, they must avoid becoming too focused on details or perfectionism, as this can hinder their personal development and limit their ability to see the bigger picture. Venus. Relationships are built on mutual support, practicality, and shared goals. The individual values partners who are reliable, detail-oriented, and committed to self-improvement. However, they must guard against being too critical of their partner or overly focused on practical concerns, which can create emotional distance in their relationships. Learning to balance practicality with emotional connection is essential for maintaining fulfilling relationships. Saturn. Discipline and responsibility in health, work, and service are necessary for achieving long-term success. The individual may face challenges in maintaining a healthy work-life balance, but through patience and dedication, they will achieve stability in their professional and personal life. However, they must guard against becoming too rigid or self-critical in their pursuit of success. Ra. The individual may be drawn to unconventional or innovative methods of problem-solving, often seeking new ways to improve systems or approaches in their work or health. However, they must be cautious of becoming too obsessive about perfection or control, which can lead to stress or dissatisfaction. Ketu. Detached from traditional ideas of service and health, the individual seeks deeper meaning and purpose in their work. They are less concerned with external results and more focused on spiritual or emotional fulfillment through their contributions. Their challenge is to integrate practical responsibilities with a desire for inner growth and emotional well-being.